I see myself.
Can you hear yourself?
I hear myself in my ears, yes. Technology. What's his name off Napoleon sing about it?
I love
I
technology.
love technology. So, if
You are live, at least.
if you are just getting connected and you've been trying to get connected, we've been connected, disconnected, reconnected, and to the point that frustrations were beginning to mount. But we have got it now. We're connected on. So glad you're with us. Sorry about the confusion. I don't know if the title got put on this one.
Yeah, it did.
Did it? It was
Yeah.
on the.
It's on this one as well.
Okay. So you see the title. What was it? You'll have to rehearse me.
The Great Fire of 2008.
The Great Fire of 2008. We want to somehow take this story and experience what happened to Wes and myself one time. And we, excuse me, we kind of.
You sound like Joe Biden there.
Hey, man. We correlate it, kind of into almost not a parable, but a analogy.
Yeah.
To some degree. So.
It wasn't an analogy, that's for sure.
It was an experience.
It was an event.
Event at the time. But so I don't know. Get it started. What's I guess that we just go straight into the story.
I think that's probably the best way to start. And Lathan and I, over the years, we've multiple times tried to have food plots and tried to basically create scenarios where deer would come to where we wanted them to be.
Yeah. We were trying a food plot when food plot wasn't cool. 20 years ago. I'm sure they were cool, but not to the magnitude they are now.
Yeah. And we had convinced ourselves that we needed a food plot. And I had this great idea that I had the equipment to make that happen.
Yeah. I got to get my throat clear. Hold on. Excuse me. So we had a little area. What would you call it? A nook.
Yeah, it was a good spot.
Yeah.
A beautiful little spot.
Little nook, totally back in the timber, where I believe what had happened there years ago, they had cleared that timber for
a well.
For oil field work. Yeah. So all there was basically weeds.
Man, it's amazing what these things do. When you put them on, it's like you can hear so much better.
Oh, yeah. You mean the ears?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the...
when you get in God's word, it's like you can hear so much better.
But you're pulling us off track.
I really am.
So we're back to the nook, the cranny, little patch of weeds out in the middle of the woods, in a good woods that had a lot of deer in it. We thought, man, if we could get a food plot in there, it would be dynamite. So you had your dad had the equipment.
Yeah. Not really. Kind of.
Yeah.
And that leads us to the rest of the story.
Yeah. Was it Paul Harvey that said, and that's the rest of the story.
And that's the rest of the story.
So we had the idea in the late winter, early spring. It would have been about now, probably.
Yeah,
give or take.
Now,
give or take.
In 2008.
Getting prepared. We thought we'll go in there and mow them old dead weeds off, get it all mulched down. And you approached your dad, right?
Yeah. I said, hey, let us use what you got to make happen what we need to happen.
What did he have?
A mower.
Yeah. So when we say equipment, we mean yard tractor.
Yeah. We
nice John Deere.
It was a real nice John Deere mower. And we went in.
Heavy on the was.
Yeah. Don't ruin it yet.
Okay, go ahead.
So we go in and we start mowing this area that, they'd cleared at some point, and we're mowing it down. It was grass that was probably, it was at least 3 foot high.
Yeah. So you picture this time of year, the old dead brown weeds.
Buffalo grass. Yeah. And we start mowing it, and I can just feel the pride rising up in me.
I was weed eating around the edge, getting some of the saplings and stuff.
I was like, man, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I was getting excited too. And what
Yeah.
was we don't want to leave out these vital parts of the story, but what was your dad's like last words when we loaded that thing up?
He told me, he said, Sonny, I've never had a nice mower in my whole life, and that's the nicest mower I've ever had. He said, take care of it. He might be listening this morning and not appreciate the
Well,
laughter.
it's now. Well, we didn't laugh then.
Oh, shoot, no.
Steve, we love you so much if you listen. We appreciate all you put up with through us, through our younger years,
man.
and even maybe now.
But anyways,
so our mindset was we walked that area real good. I do remember
we had picked out our stand spots.
We was making sure there wasn't no pieces of pipe or something that you could hit. That was our. If we had a worry, we was like, we was like, man, we don't want to hit something, and tear the deck up on it or something, or blade or bearing or something.
So we're mowing and cranking it out, and it's looking good. And I remember, like, right towards the end, I was just like, could this go any better?
You made your last pass.
I was done.
Yeah, I was
done, and I shut it off.
You made your last pass, and I was there knocking. We had a pretty stout weed eater, and I was getting some of them little sticks and woody things around the edge knocked out.
And I remember looking over at you and giving you the thumbs up, like, we have done it.
It was totally like you pulled up, shut the mower off.
Yeah, I did.
It was like something like that.
I was like,
thumbs up. This is going to be amazing.
And then I see your eyes get
got big because I was standing about 5 or 6 yards in front of the mower when you shut it off, and everything got quiet, and you were like, man, we're going to kill one of these right here, and this is going to be awesome. And I seen a flicker, a poof of flames, if poof of flames is a thing, kind of flickering out from underneath down in the front.
Yeah, the one thing we did not, think about was all that dry grass that we were mowing ended up piling up underneath that mower, and it just, man.
And the muffler on that particular model is down low and in the front.
Yeah.
Because it's made to mow grass, probably not 3 foot tall weeds.
It was the best case, worst case scenario.
Yeah. So we see a flicker, or I see a flicker of flames coming out from underneath of it, and I realize.
I think you tell this story better than I do.
And I was like, oh no. I was like, I seen those flames, and I think I said, hey, I see fire.
You did.
And of course, you know how mowers work, or these particular models, the hood flips up on them.
Yep.
I'll never forget when you flipped that hood up, and it was like the oxygen got all in around that, because it was probably puffing, trying to grab air up underneath that old hot hood.
Yeah.
And it went.
It was like backdraft.
It went from what I say earlier, a poof or a flicker to about a 2.5, 3 foot flame.
Oh yeah.
Off the front of the mower.
Yeah.
And I've always, to this day, I was like, why do we do this? When you see a flame that is, let's say, bigger than a foot, you get off to the side and you blew on it.
I was wanting to do anything,
trying to blow it out. You blow out a matchstick, you blow out a candle. I don't know if you blow out a 3 foot high flame. No. Matter of fact, you just feed it. The
words of my dad were just reverberating in my head. Make sure you take care of it.
So we go into a full blown panic.
Oh yeah.
To try to get that out.
We push it out of the fire.
Yeah. And we're working, trying to get the fire put out on the mower.
Yeah.
And we did get it put out, but it took us a hot minute.
Yeah, but by the time the hot minute. It took us by the time it was done, man, that mower was done.
It melted the front end of the mower off. Oh. All the hoses, wiring.
The radiator was melted. Yeah.
So we get it out.
Basically, there was a block with a giant glob of melted
front end.
Yeah, plastic on top of it.
Oh man. Well, we have to rein this in too, because I feel like, and I've preached this, and you asked me what I've preached it and told this story and used it in a sermon several times. And the first time, I believe, and maybe every time, kind of concerning faith.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't that we were not praying.
No, because we were definitely praying.
Whilst we were trying to put out the
Dear
fire.
God.
Yeah.
I felt like Chris Farley.
Yeah.
For the love of everything holy.
I heard a guy one time say, you know, when he was a kid, he grew up in church, and bless people's hearts and their darling little heads, you know, but he said that, he said for a lot of years, he said, I thought God's first name was O. Oh God. And that's kind of how we were praying.
Yeah.
Oh God, you know, help us, 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 help us. And so we got that fire put out. But in the meantime of putting out the fire on the mower, and we moved the mower like 3 times. I remember like we're trying to get it out, and then the grasses on the ground around it are burning. You're like, well, you got to get it out of that fire. So we roll it about 4 or 5 foot and beat on the fire again. We get the mower finally out, and by that time, what was it? Maybe a 10 to 12 yard circle of fire burning, maybe 15 at the most. You know, you look at it and you're like, we can get this circle of fire burning, the grasses put out. And we could not.
Bad, Jack.
We could not. We had nothing. We had our shirts off, I think. We pulled our shirts off. We beat fire. There was a little bit of water in that old well over there, and we were wetting our shirts and beating the fire. And we were praying, oh, Lord, help us, Lord, help us, Lord, help us put out this fire, because it was in a particular spot where that tornado had went through.
Yeah.
Several years before that, back when the tornado come through here, and it destroyed that woods and laid all that woods down. So, you know, a woods will burn, but a woods that's laying on the ground will burn.
Yeah, and it had been laid over long enough that all the stuff was dead.
All dead, and old dead stuff growed up in it, briars. And
I remember there being a shift in our mindsets, because
that whole south end was that Phragmatis grass, this old dry, caney looking grass. I was like, that, you know, that's 10 foot tall.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I was like, I don't know. I was kind of joking and almost probably perturbing you a little bit, because I was joking about it, but I didn't know what to do other than I was trying to. That was kind of my knee jerk reaction of how to handle it was laugh and joke about it. And you're like, what are we going to do? I was like, who should we call? And I was like, we ain't going to have to call nobody here in a few minutes, because they're going to see this baby from town, because it was going south quick.
Oh, man. It was bad.
If you can get this, because this is devotion time. If you can get this, you can do everything in the natural and do things in the natural.
Yeah.
You have to do the natural side of things. And then you can even scream and cry out of desperation. And it would seem like people try to move God with desperation.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, there's nothing in the word that says he moves on desperation, because if that was the case, look how desperate places are in the world. And people, I think that God is not, or doesn't love people or something like that, because why would he let it be that way there? And then we're looking at ourselves in this situation. How can this be so bad? You know, we were crying and praying. And I mean, I heard the name of Jesus many times, like not in vain.
Yeah.
It was like, Lord Jesus, help us get this fire out. Help. You know?
Dear God. I was using every name he had.
Yeah.
Jehovah Jireh.
My provider, provide something here to help us. And we come to the end of ourselves.
We did.
We come to the end of ourselves. Our shirts were off. We had beat fire. I was physically spent.
I remember it got in some cedars that were the place that we had picked out that had cedars all the way around it.
Oh, you have to paint the picture. There was fire 20 foot in the sky.
Oh, times.
Yeah.
Like I remember it got in the cedars and it just
Oh, you couldn't even hear
and
yourself.
popping and
Couldn't even hear
cracking,
yourself
and we were
think.
like, I was like, we're right in the middle of all this.
At one point, I mean, you contemplate all kinds of things.
Yeah.
I contemplated, let's just push them over out here and leave and let this place burn.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, you can't do that, and we're trying to decide what to do. So we came to the end of ourselves. And I just talked to a brother this morning. I said, I really believe we can learn by revelation, not tribulation.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just have to learn by tribulation because of
That's right.
our mistakes, and there's an enemy that wants to steal, kill, and destroy. So this was
Young and
tribulation.
dumb is a thing.
Young and dumb. This
Yeah.
was tribulation because we've burnt your dad's mower right after he said take good care of it.
Yeah.
So we're thinking of that, and then we're thinking there's 130 acres south of that, and I was like, this whole 130 acres of brush is going to burn.
Yeah.
And we're going to be liable for all this.
I was thinking we're going to jail, buddy.
And so we come to the end of ourselves, and I remember we were both on our knees, not praying, just kind of on our knees on the ground watching this burn, raging fire, burning, sound, popping, cracking. And
something rose up in us.
Something rose up when we got quiet there and listening and watching the fire burn. And we both just quit talking.
We did.
Because we were talking, like, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? What, you got any ideas? Should we leave? Should we call? And we're on our knees, which is a good place to be, but we weren't praying at this moment in time. But so we and I don't remember how it started, but I do remember thinking, I got quiet on the inside and I was like, Lord, here we are in this mess. And I was like, and I remember thinking, nothing's impossible for you. What can we do here? So I don't know. Did you hear me? I think I started speaking out loud.
Yeah.
I think I was just, I can remember real vividly what I prayed. I was like, Lord, this isn't good. And this is our fault.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. I don't know that it's the enemy, the devil's fault. I was like, just whatever it is, it's just our fault. And we sure don't want to destroy this neighbor's property.
Yeah.
That it's fixing to destroy.
When somebody gives you permission, they don't really give you permission to set everything on fire.
Yeah, to burn the whole wilderness gone.
Yeah.
And I said, so we really don't know what to do. I remember praying this, and we just need your help. And I know that somehow you'll help us. And I remember I stood up, and by that time, I think I heard you start. I mean, it went from cries of desperation.
Yeah.
Till we were like speaking the word.
Speaking in authority. And
we were speaking the word and quoting scriptures and building our faith. And
oh, dude, I was tongue talking. I was like,
yeah, we had crossed over from desperation into just believing and trusting God. And I remember I stood up and I just felt in my heart like the Lord said, pick the biggest place it's burning. Because it's burning all the way around us.
Yeah.
But it was wanting to go south in a hurry.
Yeah.
And that's where the biggest brush was.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just started walking towards, I remember it was like 15 foot, 20 foot up in trees. There was honeysuckle growed in pyramids around trees, and it was up there just raging and popping and cracking. And I picked the biggest spot. I just felt in my heart. I didn't hear an audible voice, but I felt like that's what the Lord said. So I just started walking towards it, and I just started talking to it, man. Yeah. I just said, from that point on, it started getting fuzzy because I think I was getting over in the anointing, and I was just like, Lord, I start speaking to that fire, and I said, all these different things, and you were right here beside me. I remember we're walking towards that fire, and I remember when it was all said and done. Do you remember what I said? We sat down, the fire was out. I said, dude, that was a miracle.
Yeah.
I said, that was miraculous. Because what I remember,
we could visibly see it diminishing.
It fell from the trees
Yeah.
because it was 15, maybe 20. I'm trying not to be exaggerating, but it was
When it was in those
every
cedars, dude.
it was every bit of 10 and 12 foot up in the trees burning.
Yeah.
And I remember when we got close to it, I remember plain as day, a breeze come out of the south, and it wasn't no wind at all. It was just wanting to travel south because that's where the most stuff for it to eat.
Yeah.
And that wind come out of the south. I remember just for a second, I thought, oh, wind and fire is not good. It makes it.
Yeah.
But I thought it came strong out of the south, like it pushed it back on us to where it already burnt.
Yeah.
It fell from the trees. We walked up to it, didn't we?
We did.
We walked up to it. And what do you think from where we was when we started actually praying in faith, not desperation? From where we actually started praying in faith to where that big fire was, what, 40 yards? 50?
Yeah, maybe.
50 at the most?
Yeah.
In that 50-yard walk, it went from 15, 10, 12 foot up in trees, sound that was overwhelming, crackling and popping. Just imagine a cedar tree. They go up like a bomb.
Yeah.
It was jumping from cedar to cedar.
They legit go up like a bomb.
Don't put those in your house, people. They poof, and crack and pop and go off like a bomb and just jump from tree to tree. But in that 45 to 50 yard walk, when we got over there,
I remember we just stomped.
It was just little flickers.
Yeah.
It had fell to the ground in little flickers. And we kind of looked at each other like, I was like, now we
don't argue with it.
We do our part of, we be doers of this, and we do our part. And we just walked around that perimeter and touched it a few times with our toes, and it was out.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
We may have done some Jericho shouts when it was done.
It was amazing. And I remember going back to your dad's mower and sitting down there. And that's what I said earlier. I made a point that we was like, I remember making eye contact with you. I was like, dude, that was amazing. I was like, there is no reason. There's no reason. And I guess the point we want to get to you is it can be desperate times. We were in desperation, but you have to cross over out of desperation, into like a place of trust and faith, and speak to the issue. You speak to the issue out of faith and not out of desperation. And you're like, well, how do you do that? Well, you have to get the word on the matter, because I remember the word just coming up out of me, and just speaking the word. I don't know what's your take from the walk. From the time we came to the end of ourselves, take us on your journey from there, because that was mine, and I did a lot of talking.
Well, the only thing the reverberating thing in my head right now is it wasn't a miracle to my dad.
No, it wasn't.
But while we were out there, what we saw was a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah. So it's still, there was still consequences.
There were. And there are whenever we have things in our lives. And if there's someone listening right now and you may be feeling like, gosh, my life is up in flames, or, things are not going great, but there's a God who loves and cares for you.
That's right.
And because of that, I want to speak encouragement to people that hear this, that are like, man, it's a wreck right now.
Yeah.
There's a God who can bring peace to your wreck.
That's it. And that's what we came out of that. And I would say it's a good word would be peace.
Yeah.
Of course, Jesus said he's the Prince of Peace. He said, my peace I leave with you. I give to you.
Peace that passes all understanding.
Peace that makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, you can be right. So, and the only way you get to that is find some word on it. Get around people that will help you with that. Because, iron sharpens iron. If you're around a negative Nelly, bust their heart. Get around somebody that lift you up and build you up. Faith cometh by hearing the word. So put some word in you, and the word will come out of you. And then you begin to walk it out. And that's a funny story to some degree. Like I said, it wasn't funny for Brother Steve. and his John Deere mower.
I spent the next 3 months building a John Deere that I
Rebuilding it,
had
yeah.
no knowledge of whatsoever.
Yeah, but
it still runs today. Is that not amazing?
That's amazing. He's still got it.
Yeah, he does.
How about that?
Yep.
We probably did that thing some good.
John Deere tough.
But anyhow, we want you to understand that no matter how chaotic it is, there's an answer. And it's not desperation. Change your mindset from screaming at things in desperation to get some word on it. And I was going to read Hebrews 11, all that stuff, what faith is, but it's the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. But we're out of time, so we want you to get in there and do that yourself. But man,
it's always good to read the Word. I always enjoy our Friday mornings.
Yeah, put the Word in you, and then let the Word come back out of you.
Yeah,
be a doer of the Word, not just a hearer. Put your faith in motion. I think if we would have just stayed on our knees and just gave up, I think it would have burnt.
Yeah.
I think the fire would have went south and burnt, and we may still be paying the piper today for it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so don't give up, and
don't lose heart.
Don't lose heart. Don't give up, and build faith. I'm a faith preacher. You can label me, but I found in the Word where the just shall live by faith. I found in the Word where it's impossible to please God without faith. I found in the Word where you can't live without faith because it says live by faith and not by sight. It's just you find all those things in words. So you have to be a faith preacher. That's just what you have to have.
My thing is, if I'm going to fall to one side of the ditch, I'd rather fall on the side that believes in God.
There you go.
And believes in who he is. So,
man, there's so much more we'd like to, but we're out of time. So we just want to encourage you this morning. Let the Word work. Speak the Word. Don't just hear it. Speak it. Do it. And man, I'm telling you, it's an analogy, but the fire that's burning in your life, you can begin to put it out. Amen. So we love you. Have a wonderful day. We're here at Ultra Products. Come see us if you need anything for your bow or for your heart. We love you. Have a wonderful day.
We are nearly 9 weeks into Up for Discussion podcast. And Lathan and I would just like to say thank you so much for all those who've been watching week in and week out. It means a lot to us, and we greatly appreciate it. However, there's one thing that you could do that would help us out tremendously right now. And what it is if you're watching on Facebook, like, subscribe, comment, share. All those things help to push us up and to let us not only stay in contact with you, but also to make sure that we can grow this channel in an efficient manner. If you're watching on YouTube, one thing that you can do is you can hit the bell up at the top. That bell will subscribe you to our channel on YouTube. So anytime that we upload a video, you are the first to know. All those things will help us not only grow the channel and the page, but also continue to bring fantastic outdoor entertainment to you guys at home. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we're providing you guys with not only knowledge, education, but also entertainment. So sit back and we're going to continue Up for Discussion podcast.